factory with none other than Sir Frank Williams. Thank you for the interview, Sir Frank. Let the fun begin. I read a report this week that people with mobility impairment have a lot of trouble getting examined, like pap smears and things like that.
When I first got injured, the gynecologist that I was seeing actually asked me if I could find somebody else.
And she basically was like, "Why are you here?"
The doctor didn't have much faith in me to get up on the examining table.
G'day everyone, and welcome to this little program, which is going to be a little bit all over the place. It's going to be a bit of an Apple history lesson. It's going to be a bit of some exciting announcements that Apple have made in the last couple of days in conjunction with Global Accessibility Awareness Day, I think it was. So all sorts of things to talk about. I perhaps should just let people know that I'm a bit of an Apple fanboy, I guess. But there is a reason for that, and we're going to talk about that and why I think that the NDIS policy of perhaps going for the cheapest tablet or the cheapest assistive technology is perhaps short-sighted, if you'll pardon the pun. So let's have a little bit of a talk about Apple and their history of doing things for people with all kinds of disabilities, right from way back in the old G4 days, when the Apple wasn't even Intel. I think that was the G4 or even before. They did a lot of things for people with visual impairment, and I remember getting my first Apple being told that they were terrific machines, and I couldn't drive it. It was awful, and this is coming from an Apple fanboy. So what I did though was I was telling people how I couldn't drive it. And someone with a visual impairment said to me, well, I'll take it because it's the only computer company that's looking after us people with visual impairment. It reads a screen. It does all sorts of things for clicking the mouse and all that sort of thing. And that was way, 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 way back. And the thing is that Apple then went Intel, and I got a new one and loved it. But Apple had never, ever lost sight of doing things for people with all kinds of disabilities, whether it be visual impairment, hearing problems or mobility issues. Whatever they see, they try to address, and even things for just the general populace. So, of course, Apple invented the fonts on the screen and the font sizing, which was great for people who had low vision. And then they started to do some more things. They brought out the Apple Watch. And with that and the iPhone, things really started to get very, very focused on accessibility. The Apple Watch started off with things basically for people with no mobility impairment. They had the exercise rings and everything, which were aimed at getting people more fit. The watch would tell you when to stand up. Drives my dad crazy. The watch tells him to stand up all the time. And by the way, you can turn that off. But they started tracking our steps and doing all sorts of things. And on the Apple Watch, they even started taking our heart rate and letting us know what our heart rate was. Now it'll warn us if we have a heart rate that's too high. They've even gone to the stage a few years ago where they had an ECG system bought in America, which is just now become approved for Australia, where the Apple Watch actually takes an ECG for you, which is quite accurate considering the technology, and it can even save a PDF and send it to your doctor. We'll have a look at one of those now. That's actually the PDF that's created by the Apple Watch, and it's done simply. I think I can reach up my hand by setting up the Apple Watch app and then just putting my finger on the watch crown, and that's the sort of PDF that it creates on the screen right now. It will warn you if you have atrial fibrillation. I can never say that word, and I've been told that there's no evidence of any of that, but one day it did say to me, however, your heart rate is quite high, perhaps you should monitor that. Now, I'd just done a transfer out of my chair, and I think my heart rate was a little bit high, but it was interesting that it told me about it. And then perhaps a year ago when they brought out the iOS for the iPhone, they brought out some things called sound recognition. Now, these were really interesting because they popped up with almost no fanfare. And what they do is the iPhone and the iWatch working together will let you know if certain things come up, like a knock at the door or a dog barking or water running. There you are. Carl's just put it on. Those are some of the things. We'll just have a look at them. Sirens, smoke alarms, fire alarms, cat, dog. I don't know how appliances work. I've never played with it. Car horn, doorbell works, door knock works, running water works, baby crying, shouting, coughing is driving me crazy right now because my producer Carl keeps coughing. Go on, Carl. There you go. And if I had it switched on, my phone would say a sound which appears to be coughing has been detected. So that's great for people with a little bit of hearing impairment, and that's a fairly new thing by Apple. And I thought, well, look, they can't get much better than what they are. They are talking about having something which will actually measure blood sugar without actually having to stick yourself with a needle in the next couple of years, and that would be great. But to get to what we're talking about, for now I can never remember how it is, it's the Global Accessibility Awareness Day, something like that. Apple just came out and made some announcements of some of the new stuff they're doing in the Apple Watch, the iPad, the Mac, and these are major changes that will really help people with disability, particularly people like my friend Nev, who only has one arm, who says, what's the point of an Apple Watch? I can't push any of the buttons because I've only got one hand and I can't reach it. Well, Nev, you've got no excuse now. You have to buy yourself an Apple Watch. Now, I could just play you the Apple video, but I'm very pleased to be able to put up a YouTube post by a gentleman called Rene Ritche, and as far as I know, he has no disabilities, but he is the only Big Apple person to make a video featuring these new things, and he does so with such passion that I'd like to show you his video with all the new stuff from Apple and promote him as well, because he really was excited about these new innovations. Let's have a look at it now, Carl.
Okay, just watch this. Watch it and try not to have your mind blown, your brain just burst, because it's Assistive Touch and it's coming to the Apple Watch. It uses the motion sensors, the gyroscope, the accelerometer, in tandem with the optical heart rate sensor, and then applies just a ton of on-device machine learning to figure out the subtle muscle and tendon movements in your arm so that you can control the Apple Watch with a clench or double clench of your fist, or a pinch of your fingers, or just basic rotations. It's meant for people with limb differences or issues with motor function, but like every accessibility and inclusivity feature, it's really for everyone. Everyone with an injury or holding a child, or of course, one day wielding their Iron Man augmented reality HUD, which is all anyone in my timeline can seem to see in all of this. And what's extra exciting about this is that Apple normally doesn't pre-announce new features. They would wait for June 7th, the WWDC 2021 keynote, and show them off as part of watchOS 8, iOS 15, iPadOS 15, macOS 12, but they're doing it now to coincide with Global Accessibility Awareness Day, and I am entirely here for it, because there's eye tracking support, which is starting with the iPad and is going to work integrated with made for iPhone eye tracking accessories so that the iPad's cursor will just follow your gaze as you look across the screen and then perform an action like a tap when and if you stop and stare at something. Also improvements for voiceover for images, so if you can't see what's in a photo, your iPhone, for example, can describe it to you, and not just sunset, but now your friend Georgia standing in the park at sunset, things that are just much more specific and meaningful to you. And you'll be able to use markup to add your own, even more personalized descriptions as well. And microphone support is being added to the Made for iPhone hearing aids program to be able to take calls, do FaceTimes or Zooms, all with that one single next generation hearing aid. You'll also be able to layer in balanced, bright, or dark noise, or nature sounds like ocean, rain, or streams over background audio to just take the edge off, to stay focused, to stay calm, to avoid distractions, to avoid discomfort, It'll even mix or duck under other audio or alerts, so it can just be there, always, steady, stable, whenever you need it to be, like a big comforting hug for your ears. And there'll be sound actions for switch controls, which means zero dependency on the actual physical controls. You'll be able to mouth things like clicks, pops, eeps instead. And app-specific customizations for display and text sizes for everything from color blindness to low vision, and in Memoji, oxygen tubes, cochlear implants, and soft helmets so everyone can better see themselves as themselves. And I love all of this and Apple's accessibility team so much because they work so always to make every device work better for everyone, not just with features like Smart Inverse or Cursor for iPad, which started in accessibility and ended up as dark mode, or in the Magic Trackpad, or maybe gesture control for Apple Watch will one day actually end up in VR or AR, whatever. But we're all only ever one sports injury or accident away from needing these accessibility features as is any given day, just as many people in the community do every day.
Well, even as an Apple fanboy, I have no hesitation in saying that is amazing. And it's because of innovations like that. Look, everybody knows that the iPad and Apple are a little more expensive. But look at the things that they are offering people with all kinds of disabilities. They really care. I mean, they're trying to build an ecosystem that anybody, anywhere, can use. And Rene Ritche was excited. I'm excited. If you can hear my bird tweeting in the background, he's excited as well. You begin to... Every time Apple does something, I think they're not going to be able to add anything else, and they continue to do just that. So I'm wondering if the NDIS shouldn't relook at taking the cheapest version of technology, assistive technology, and say, look, this is really something that can help an awful lot of people, and opening up their arms to perhaps the more expensive alternative of Apple. I really love what they do. I really thank Rene Ritche for what he did in bringing us that clip. Before we go today, let's thank some of the people that have been there for us in Hervey Bay in particular. Totally Mobile, who do all sorts of scooter sales and mobility sales and rentals. Hello World Travel in Hervey Bay, who are doing it hard like everyone at the moment during the COVID-19 thing. So if you're traveling anywhere in Australia, no matter where you are, give them a call and do your bookings through them, because they'll really appreciate it. Simple Solutions, who do the training for people for the NDIS. IOMI, that do home automation. And of course the NDIS for helping my life become better, even though I sometimes have some thoughts that some people might see as a little negative. I'm so grateful to be a part of the NDIS. Thank you for looking at our program on innovation technology or innovative technology. I hope that you've enjoyed it. Please remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you to all our Facebook viewers. If you can subscribe to our YouTube channel as well, that would be fantastic. Accessible Globe TV. We're grateful to have you. We'll see you again in a few days when I'm going to talk to you about medical cannabis. Until then, see you later, and thanks for watching.